Hi, and welcome back to Coffee Chat, etc. This is a place where we explore real women with real lives and real stories. So, in each episode, we're delving into a variety of topics that address the many obstacles women face from childhood to adulthood. I'm your host, Tracy Cox, and I'm really pleased and honoured that you're here with me today. This is one of many more podcasts to come, exploring the trials and tribulations we go through as women. My hope is that you will find them inspirational, educational, and motivational. So, before we start, I just want to mention that while I aim to create a safe and supportive environment for you, the listener, it is important to note that some of these episodes may cover sensitive topics, including discussions around adversity, trauma, mental health, violence, and sexual references. These subjects may evoke strong emotions or trigger responses within you, and I urge you to seek support and professional help if you are affected by any of these subjects. Your well-being is my priority, and I want you to feel empowered and supported. So before we begin again, grab yourself a coffee, get comfy, and let's start. Today, I'm honoured to introduce a truly inspiring voice, Jackie Walsh, a woman of strength, resilience, and unwavering courage. Jackie is a contributing author to Out of the Silence, the anthology of abuse survivors, a powerful collection of true stories written by 7 authors. Jackie's journey is not just one of survival, but of transformation. Through her words, she helps break the silence surrounding abuse, offering hope, validation, and empowerment to others who may still be finding their voice. In this episode, we'll explore Jackie's story, her healing journey, and the message she wants the world to hear. No one is alone, and that even in the darkest moments, there is a path forward. Welcome, Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for
Good.
joining us today.
That's okay, my pleasure.
I read the book last night again because we co-created that book a few years ago. Your story was really empowering for me. It was the first one that we used in the book, and it was called Tough Cookie. How do you feel going back to that story now and looking at it and what you went through at the time when you were writing it?
Well, I think writing it was very cathartic. It did dredge up quite a lot of memories. There's many detail that I've kept out of my story because that's not important. That isn't relevant. How I feel today is I'm very pleased I've done it because I felt like I was given a voice, and I also felt like I was being heard. And I hope that that can inspire others.
I think that's a big thing for people as children who have been abused. They don't have a voice because they're
Mm.
so scared to use it. And in your story, you touched on that. And I think it would be really good to allow the listeners to just have a piece of that story that you're willing to share, if you're willing to share it today.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. From my perspective, I was very young. I was about 3 years old. And people sometimes can argue, oh, well, how can you remember when you were 3? And I'm just basing it on the timeline of when I started school. And I remember that my grandmother and birth mother used to go out shopping. We used to go and stay with my grandparents in Devon, and there would be a couple of times a week where my grandparents and birth mother would go off into town and leave us, myself and my brother, in the care of my grandfather. And the reason I think I remember it so vividly is because it was quite routine how it used to unfold. And it would be that my brother would go be taken away and he remained in the house, but they went upstairs, and I knew that I would be next. I just, that's the routine. But my
Yeah.
experience I wouldn't be abused in the house. I would be taken up the garden. Now, this garden was about 100 feet long, and at the
Yeah.
end of the garden was a very secluded shed. And I would be taken into that shed. And I remember the smells,
Yeah.
the chemicals that were in there. And I just remember that there was a workbench, and I was always lifted up onto the workbench and just the light streaming in through the window. The details, that I don't wish to share because, as I say, they're not, for me, that it's not part of the story. It's not important.
Sure.
but I used to just let it unfold in there and then just wait for the door to open, and I used to escape like a butterfly
Yeah.
kept in there, and I would just run back down the garden.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really it for me. That's how it used to occur, but it was quite frequent.
At that time as well, you had health struggles as well to add on to that. Plus,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned about your mother in the book, about the complications that were surrounding that as well. It sounds that you had a very difficult childhood.
Mm.
And can you remember a kind of poignant moment in that time, a moment where you'd lost all hope?
I don't think I ever lost hope, and I don't know how I coped. I think it's even now I look back at that little 3-year-old, up to the age of I started school in the September. My birthday is in July, so I would have just turned 5. So it was a couple of years, and I don't know, even, going back to playing, my brother and I would be encouraged to play board games. And games, if it was raining, that we'd stay inside and play board games, or we'd play on the grass outside. But we would just resume that. And this is beyond me
Yeah.
how it we never spoke about it. It was like it never happened. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that was part of the coping mechanism. My birth mother, I don't think if she was ever really mentally stable. I can't, as a child, I wouldn't know, but as an adult, I look back and I think, God, she must have really suffered mentally to be able to. I mean, I don't know if she knew what was going on.
Right.
She was abused physically, I know, because I was told.
Okay.
She told me that her father used to beat her with a leather belt. I don't know what else happened, but, that's obviously done some damage to her. But, I think my anger came out later in life. She knew that he was a violent man, so why would she leave her children with him? It just beyond me, and that angered me as a
Yeah. Of
child, as an adult, sorry. What?
course.
So yeah, so I mean, I was 22 when I went. Well, no, actually, sorry, I'm 20. I was 24 when I went to therapy because I realised that this is still, going along. I've never spoken to anybody about this
Yeah.
until I went to therapy. I went to my GP and said, "Please, can you help me? I think I need therapy to try and sort of like file this and sort it out." And I explained that, I was abused by my grandfather. So when I went to the first session of therapy, there was this man who potentially could be the age of my grandfather,
Okay.
which was really
Wow.
unhelpful. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, I couldn't talk to him. So I said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I can't talk to you." So that was session number one.
Wow. And did they replace him with anybody, or was there a
Yeah.
general lack of empathy?
The next time they it was another male, but he was more my age, which again,
Right.
it just didn't really, and I felt uncomfortable complaining again. So I just thought, well, let's just go with it. I did get some stuff out, but you know what? It was at the end of the day, it didn't really work for me. So I just thought I'm on my own again. I'm just going to have to figure
Yeah.
this out. So I think, the therapy and the help started when I was in my early 20s.
Okay. And how did that help you to move forward?
Well, I think the realization was that the only person that can help me is me.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult because I haven't really got anybody asking me questions to delve deeper.
Sure.
I think I could probably benefit from therapy again, to be honest, to really dig deep into it. I think as I've gone through life, I've got this genetic disorder, which which sets me apart, if you like, from normal society. And I don't want to paint this picture of this freakishly looking woman, but I do stand out for the wrong reasons. People can see that I do have differences, curvature of the
Yeah.
spine. And I think I've learned to build up resilience around that as well. So,
Yeah, and I think you mentioned in the book as well that you had to wear
hmm,
a cage for a long time when you were younger,
yeah,
and you had to undergo a massive operation to put something into your spine.
yes, the condition is called chondrodysplasia punctata.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
punctata is the rare. bit of that disorder. It's one in a million, so it's quite rare.
Very,
And from the age of 4 to the age of 12, I had to wear this Milwaukee brace. Google both of those
yeah,
bits of information, the disorder and the Milwaukee brace.
yeah.
And that will demonstrate what I used to wear. And that was from 4 to 12. At the age of 12, I went into hospital for 6 months to have this. I was stretched 4 inches. That took a month. Then I was on this. I had my steel bar put in to my upper spine, which is, I think it's about 6 to 7 inches long. And
Gosh,
then, I was in hospital because that had to fuse. So I was, in hospital for such a long time. And parents didn't really come and see me, probably once a fortnight if I was lucky, because they lived
wow,
in Dorset and I was in Hampshire. Probably
right.
about an hour's drive, not even that. But
So, how did that impact then on your friendship groups, schooling, and your relationships with your family as well?
yeah, I mean, at the age of 8, I told my birth mother that I hated her. And that's a very, very strong statement from a child that age.
Very much.
So yeah, I felt lonely and I really was connected to my dad, but he was he used to work very hard. We never went without stuff. We were middle of the road family. We blended in with pretty much everybody else. But she told me that she didn't want a child like me, as in disabled. And secondly, she didn't want a girl anyway.
Wow. So,
So
total rejection.
yeah, that was totally hurtful. And that was around, the age of 8. And the reason I told her I hated her was because my brother had done something and she then came into the room and then was physical with me, slapped me around the head, and my brother got away with it. So I wasn't
Right.
really connected to my family as such. I felt quite lonely. So going into hospital for me was kind of a
A
break.
reprieve.
Yeah, and I don't, that sounds bizarre to say because I went through several corrective surgeries and they
Quite
were,
major as well, I'm
oh,
guessing.
absolutely. Yeah, we're talking like 9-hour surgery.
Yeah.
For the worst surgery was to have the steel rod put in my back. And I've had corrective surgery on my legs, my hips and things like this. So they were quite invasive, but I think a lot of people in the hospital were saying, "Where's your parents?" And I was like, "I don't know." So they used to come and sit
No.
with me, and
Wow.
it was very, very odd, but I didn't really miss them. And
No.
it's quite weird. My friendship groups, I was bullied at school because I was different, and wearing this Milwaukee brace set me aside massively because I looked immediately weird and nobody wanted to be my friend because they would then get ridiculed for being friends with, I quote, the spastic.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, You know,
Which in those days,
it
you're
was
going
awful.
back, we didn't have the anti-discrimination
No.
laws, we didn't have the equal rights.
Yeah.
If you were different and you stood out, then
Yeah.
you were called names and you were
Yeah.
bullied. But that must have
Yeah.
been really difficult because at home, where obviously you're not getting on with your birth mother and there's a lot of rejection there, and then you're going to school
Mm.
and then you're facing more rejection. How do you cope with that at such a young age?
God knows. I mean, I used to have a temper and, I would try and contain that temper where possible. But when I couldn't, being called Hunchback of Notre Dame, Quasimodo. I remember one incident where I was walking along in school and I was walking along and a group of boys were like walking behind me going Quasimodo and doing all of these horrible
Gosh,
things. And people were laughing
sure.
at me. And I was thinking like, why is this happening? This is just weird. And I don't know. I think I learnt a lot from my dad. My dad always used to say to me, treat people as they treat you.
Yeah.
But that was a hard one to try and get my head round. And
Yes.
also, first impressions matter. So, and I kind of used to sort of gauge my behaviors on that. But when I did lose my temper at school and lash out because I just got sick of it, I
Yeah.
was always the one in trouble. So I was the one saying, ignore them, and that. So in the end, I used to just walk out of school and I thought, I don't care. I
Yeah.
wasn't scared of school. The only person I was really
Yeah.
scared of was my birth mother because she was so unpredictable. You just
Yeah.
didn't know what you were gonna get. So and she was mentally abusive to me as well as physical.
Okay. What
So
I've learned as well from that is you become hypervigilant. So you learn to read people very quickly
quickly,
and quite
yeah.
easily in order to protect yourself as well. Is that something that you experience even now?
I guess it is because you know what? Before my operation, I was 3'10". I was tiny, and I was
Yeah.
12 years old, and I'm now 4'7". So
Congratulations.
so that statement alone can indicate to you how I stand out in the general public because people do double take and they go, blimey. And I often go shopping and I see people say to me, or children say, oh, mummy, look at that little lady. And I joke about it and I say, well, when I was a little girl, I didn't eat my vegetables. So I strongly recommend you eat your vegetables so you can grow nice
Yeah.
and tall. So I kind of make a joke of it.
Yeah.
And I have a great sense of humor. Sometimes I've been told, I can be quite self-deprecating, and I don't mean that, but I'm almost preempting what you're thinking about me in that sense.
Yes.
And they're
Yeah.
not, they're probably not thinking that, but I'm just kind
No.
of very wary. But I am very wary. I'm very sort of like at arm's length when I first meet you, and when I say you, I mean in general. And I can now, as an adult, have worked out that if there's a lot of negative vibes or negativity coming my way, I will then start to take steps back because I need to protect myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if I'm all in, I'm all in with you. I am completely loyal. I give you everything I have
Yeah.
because, for me, I believe breaking that cycle, and I did that breaking the cycle very, very early on. I knew that I would never want to behave the way that I was treated by my family.
Yes. And I think that's the big learning lesson when you've gone through trauma as a child and the
Mm,
rejection, the discrimination, that you actually don't want to pave your life that way.
mm.
And I know that I've done that, but have you done that as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'm always very careful of how I approach things. I'm a bit more thoughtful, I think, in that sense. But yeah, if I'm getting the right feelings, then I'm okay and I can move forward with that. I'm very careful in the circles than I used to be. I know when I was sort of late 20s, I couldn't walk into a bar and meet friends. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But now I'm just thinking I can do that because it's about confidence and just knowing that I am good enough. I'm
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
And, nothing that in my past, it's shaped me, but it doesn't define who I am.
Absolutely. And also, were there any defining figures in your life that supported you and helped you to heal from your past?
Gosh, I had a friend who was older than my birth mother, and her name was Lorna, and she's long since passed. She was quite an elderly lady, but this Lorna lived two doors down from me, and she had cats. And I loved cats, and we didn't have any pets. I used to go and see the cats and stroke them. And then she one day saw me and said, oh, would you like to come in for some squash? And I went in. She was really my friend. She really listened to me. She
Yeah.
understood. She totally got me. And she would say, well, why don't you come round? I'm going to wash Simba. Simba's a fluffy white cat who needed washing. And I used to come in and
Yeah.
just watch. And then I used to sprinkle the talcum powder over him. And she basically tutored me into the hospital side because I told her I was going in soon for this operation, and she was doing exercises with me after. So, we were doing yoga and
Well,
meditation. I didn't tell her about the abuse, but I think
yes.
she realized that I wasn't doing well at home. And I think she filled
Okay.
that gap. So she was very inspirational.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
And I
inspirational.
think sometimes people are brought into your life to kind of guide you along that path and to help you a little bit, even
Yeah,
if it's just being that replacement energy at that time of what you
yeah.
needed, which helped you through as well.
Yeah. I think as an adult, I don't know. I mean, I've got lots of really great friends who And I'm not embarrassed to say I'm a survivor of child abuse. I mean, before a certain age, I can't put an absolute sort of a rough age. Maybe before I was 20, I couldn't talk about this. It was disgusting. It was filthy. It was my fault. I could
Yeah.
have stopped it.
Massive
All of this.
taboo.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Now I'm proud. This is how I've healed, I think, because I've spoken to friends about it. I've never shared the details with anybody and I don't intend to. But, sharing it with my friends, they say, wow, you're so inspirational. How'd you get through it? And it's like, well, you just have to. There's like, you just have to dig deep, I think.
Yeah. And I think there's an element there of your authentic self coming through where you
Mm,
know who you are and you know what you want and you know what you don't want.
mm,
And are you going to let the past and all the belief systems that were kind of accumulated from that time impact on you moving forward?
mm,
And, you having that fiery temper, I think
mm.
was probably a really good strategy to shut down a little from others and
Yeah.
warn others off. And now you've learnt to work with that and
Mm.
I suppose kind of dampen that down a little bit now as well and be a bit more open to others.
Yeah, I did mention a few minutes ago that I got to the age of 29 when I got married. My second marriage, I married my soulmate. He was everything to me. And we were married for quite some time. I got pregnant. For the first 5 years of my marriage, I was pregnant every year. So the first year,
Oh,
I delivered Amy and she was stillborn because of this genetic disorder. And
that's a shame.
yeah, it was the worst thing in the world. I mean, there are no words to describe it really. It was horrific. And I thought then, why me? I've been raised by a crazy woman and I've been abused as a child. I married my first marriage an abuser who was physically abusive to me. And then I get
Yeah.
married to this gorgeous man who is my total world. And now I've delivered, a stillborn. And I was like, what the bloody, oh, sorry, I'm swearing. I was just thinking,
Huh?
like,
Say it's fine.
that's just me being completely honest. Like, what the heck
No,
is
it's
going
good.
on?
That's what we need.
Yeah, what the heck is going on? I'm thinking, why me? And I was told we
It's
went
funny
through,
because I think sorry, Jackie, I'll
that's
just
right.
stop you because that's the stage, I think, of change when you do the "why me?"
Yeah,
Because sometimes we can get into that stage, can't we? "Why me?
yeah.
Why me?" So, yeah, sorry, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's fine. So, I got to that point where I was thinking, like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And we went through all of this genetic testing, and we were we found out that I had this genetic disorder, and
Yeah.
it was incredibly rare. So I was like, well, again, why me? I mean, have I not got enough? But this next statement I'm going to say will give your listeners complete clarity of the woman I am. Because I was told, leave it a year, don't get pregnant. There's no guarantee that you can have children. This is X linked dominant. It is going to take over any future pregnancies, and there's no guarantee that you will have a healthy child.
Oh,
You know, I've got this disorder, and I rate myself between 1 to 10. I reckon I'm a 5 because I've looked up the disorder and it's quite horrific.
wow.
Obviously, my daughter passed away with it, but also number one would be you carry the gene.
Yeah,
So, and it's not visible. So I thought, no, I'm going for this, mate. I'm going to have a baby come hell or high water. So it was an accident. I did get pregnant. We weren't actually trying 6 months after losing Amy. And it was complete fluke. And we thought, oh my goodness, here we go again.
yeah,
Quite traumatic, but I'm very pleased to say I've got the most beautiful, intelligent, funny daughter. She's
yeah,
just incredible.
fantastic.
And she's 30. So
Yes,
I never gave up and I wanted another child. So we tried again. Sadly lost that baby quite early on, just over 3 months. And then I lost twins after that. That was at the
that's
4
such a
month
shame.
stage.
Sorry about
So
that.
yeah, I mean, but then, I think I'm grateful for what I've got and I focus on Emily. I focus,
Yeah.
on the fact that I managed to have a child in all of this adversity. So that makes me incredibly proud. really
Fantastic.
emotional.
I can see that. I can see that. But it's really great as well listening to you because you've gone from the why me? And then you've
Mm,
gone to no, I'm incredibly grateful for this now. And I think
yeah.
it's really interesting because out of kind of a lot of people that I follow, I've heard that change it to the why me to why is this happening for me?
Mm,
And then it kind of brings a level of understanding then, okay, this child that had this genetic disposition, if it had been
mm,
born, kind of situation would that have brought to the child and to yourself? And I suppose having your beautiful daughter gave you that gift to
mm,
go, oh, okay, then this is the one. This is
mm.
why this has happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Amy, we did discover that it would be better to deliver her early and have her stillborn because she would have lived. Yeah, she would have lived,
Yeah.
but not for long because the
Okay.
lungs weren't developed and these
Right.
scans were very intricate, very long lasting and very uncomfortable. So we had to make that decision. I go to full term and have a cesarean to hear the baby cry for her to pass away, or do we take, the decision now to deliver her naturally because she was small enough to pass through?
Wow.
Do we do that now and then I can heal a lot quicker and she would be stillborn? And so that's the choice we made because hearing a baby cry and not have her, that was too traumatic to even think about. And
That
we were
must have been
told,
such a difficult decision to have made though, Jackie.
oh, I can't
And
even
I
tell
think
you.
as a mother myself, I can't even imagine the pain that you must have gone through at that time.
It was horrific, I'm not gonna lie. My background is science, and I'm a very strong advocate of medical research, so I think that supported decisions, and we did give her a body to science
Okay.
on the provision that we get her back. So,
Yes.
yeah, and then we had a funeral for her, and that enabled her birth to be valuable because,
Yeah.
her details are now in the British Medical Journal, as are mine.
Oh, wow.
So something really great came from that.
Yeah.
It's anonymized, so you won't see Jackie Walsh this, you won't see any of that. It's all anonymized, which I insisted on. Um,
Yes.
but you know what? I mean, again, it just makes you more resilient of knowing that you've done something good for science is a great thing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's how I managed to kind of turn it round and accept
Yeah.
that it happened.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, again, I said this yesterday, your pain is someone else's gain. Because through that pain, you've been able to
Mm,
help others with the research and possibly other people that are experiencing the same thing as you, even
mm.
though it's a very rare genetic disorder. So, yeah, that must have been really a hard decision for you.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was. It was quite. It was yeah, unimaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving forward, I know you've got your beautiful daughter now, and you're living a healthy life. Is there any
Mm.
kind of advice that you can give to any of the listeners through all the pain that you've gone through? What's kind of a valuable lesson that you could share?
I would. Oh, that's a tricky one, really. I would probably say find support. Find somebody that you can really talk to about this and, never give up. These things are sent to us, um, I think to try us. I'm not religious at all and I
Yeah.
don't judge anyone. One of my friends was a vicar. And she respected my views and I respected hers. And it was
Yeah.
great to talk to her actually. And so from my point of view, and it wasn't my vicar friend that said this to me, but someone said to me, "Oh, God only gives you what you can cope with." And it's like,
Mm.
right, okay, that angered me deeply. Um,
Yeah.
I have a faith. I think my own faith is believe in yourself, you know, and give positivity. And that's all you, it's such a difficult one to answer this one. Just don't give up. You are a strong individual. You're stronger than you know.
Yeah.
You just have to dig deep and find that. And it takes a lot of self-reflection and honesty from yourself
Yeah.
as well. And it's
Yeah.
okay to feel bad and weak and vulnerable and all of those negative things. It's okay, but you can turn this around. You just need to dig deeper, look within
Yeah.
yourself and tell yourself and look in the mirror, I am strong, I am worthy, I am powerful.
Yeah.
Because we are all of those things.
Definitely. And I think
Mm,
affirmations is a great tool to use when
absolutely.
you start that, because I know that I've had issues in the past with my self-belief as well,
Mm,
and those affirmations supported me and helped me.
mm,
But also I do resonate with you saying about finding someone that you can connect with that can
yeah,
help to support you as well.
yeah.
Because I think as somebody who goes through abuse as a child, you tend to give up on that.
Mm,
So it's amazing that, you've still got that faith in others and that you
mm,
can reach with other people and get that help and support as
mm.
well.
And I think, I mean, if you've got someone that trust with all of your deepest, darkest secrets, that's brilliant. If you feel that you are a loner and that you don't have, you might be sitting there now thinking like, well, I haven't got anybody like that. There are helplines. I know there's the Samaritans and that's, I'm feeling suicidal. They're not just there for that, but
Yeah.
also there's the rape helpline. And
Yeah.
that rape helpline I used to support them.
Eh,
I used to work on the phone lines and I've heard many
Giving back
stories.
again.
Yeah, I've heard many stories that, that I could relate to. It doesn't have to be recently I heard many stories. So the helpline is um, another way of talking to someone about these things.
Yes.
They give you 50 minutes of their time.
Yeah.
And never think that your story isn't worthy of that because it is.
Yeah.
No, it truly is. And then that might inspire you to think, okay, well, I'm now talking about this. Then maybe, my friend down the road or whatever might be able to support me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a stepping stone to
it
help.
is a stepping stone. Yeah.
Yeah. I think some of the listeners is going to be from other countries as well. And if
Yeah.
anybody is affected by this or any of the issues that you've also gone through, I would urge them to go and find support through
Yeah.
their own kind of Google sites and
Mm,
look for societies and charities that can help them out. That was something that I really struggled with, to be fair, because I think I'd done it once and got rejected, but that was a very
mm,
long time ago, and I know that they've been shaped now. But a lot of these services are really under pressure.
mm,
So yeah, it's a really good thing though. There are services out there if
mm.
you really do need help.
Yeah.
But also connection's a very good one, I think.
Yeah.
Um, coming to where I am now and connecting with other women, and they
Mm.
see you for who you are. They see that
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
I know that I've known you for a while now, Jackie, and I've
Yeah.
always said to you, you're a little pocket rocket because you
Yeah.
just come up with this real energy of seeing things for what they are and
Mm.
coping. And you've done amazingly for yourself now because you've
Oh,
got a
thank
really good
you.
job, you've got your own home, you've got your beautiful daughter, you've got Winnie, the dog,
Yeah.
and you seem to be thriving really well, which is a
Yeah.
great inspiration after everything that you've gone through in life and the tough challenges that you've met.
Thank you for saying that. It means a lot, just to be recognized and, I'm misunderstood a lot of the time. I think, people look at me and think short means aggressive and stupid and I'm not. I know what I want and I know how to get it.
Yeah.
I'm not stubborn, but I know that if someone crosses my boundaries, that's the right word I was looking for. My
Yes.
boundaries are I'm confident with my boundaries. And if anyone steps over that boundary, I will let them know, but I'm not going to be rude or offensive. I'm just going to ask them to take a step back and just, you know, I'm not going to tolerate that. And I
Yeah.
do that very well. I mean, I'm known at work as like, I take no nonsense and I don't take any nonsense. With my friends, it's a different kettle of fish. Sometimes they accidentally say something that can cause offense, but I'm okay with that, because they probably don't realize it. And there's no malice there, there's no intention. Whereas I think sometimes
Absolutely.
when you're at work, there can be. this, like the people trying to put you
Yeah.
down, but I won't be put down.
I think that's really interesting because intention is everything for me, and it's
Yeah,
about the energy behind that.
yeah.
And I think sometimes when we can be very forgiving and
Mm,
understanding, but
mm,
I think some people may be in a situation where they don't have that understanding and the
mm,
non-judgment, and they get pissed off, because
mm,
they look at you and they think, oh, she's going on again, blah blah
mm.
blah. And I think the intention behind that isn't necessarily directed towards you. It's
No.
about them.
Yeah, it's a
I
lack
don't
of
think the
thought
issue is
sometimes.
about you. It's
Yeah,
about something going on with them in them that they maybe haven't become aware of and
yeah,
haven't healed within themselves.
yeah. They're just not, and mindfulness as well is quite important. I'm quite a mindful person. I'll think about things, Sometimes I can be so spontaneous, it just comes out. My wit is quite quick
Yes,
sometimes, and I can come out with a one liner. But yeah, I think going back to the question as well of how I've overcome things or what to do, I think writing stuff down is very important as well. You know what? If you feel lonely, just write it
journaling.
down on a piece of paper. I said to you at the beginning of this podcast, before we started recording, that I've made some notes to act as prompts, and part of that writing the chapter in the book was incredibly cathartic, but also it makes you realize just how proud, actually, I think I feel about myself. So writing it down for me is a way of kind of getting it out and
Absolutely.
kind of being honest with yourself as well. So yeah, I think writing stuff down is really helpful. Sometimes it helps you rationalize. That's the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Rationalize things.
There's a saying, if you think it, ink it. And I use that all the time. So it's about if you kind of confused or if there's lots going on in your head, then get it out on the paper and
Yeah,
write it down because that energy gets transferred onto the paper. So it leaves you with a much better, clear base of
yeah.
thinking.
But also, you hear people say, forgiveness will help you get over if you can forgive that person. I'm a very forgiving person, but unfortunately, I'm not willing to forgive the abuse and the behaviors that I suffered as a child.
Yeah.
As an adult, when we did have the funeral, my birth mother was invited. You shouldn't have to invite people. They didn't come. She
Wow.
Her and her husband didn't come.
Yeah.
That's my stepdad, not my birth father. Didn't come. They didn't want to know.
Right.
And they live 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that for me was beyond unforgivable because
Yeah.
it wasn't about, it was about us needing support, and then so that for me was like the
Yeah.
end of the line. So I have
Well, it's
no.
a real huge hurt. And if your boundary is about friendship and help and support,
Mm,
I always say that my circle of friends is very close, and
mm,
anybody that doesn't respect that or doesn't bring anything positive to that circle,
mm,
then they go on to the next circle, which is
yeah,
the hello, how are you
yeah,
type
the polite
circle.
circle. Yeah,
Absolutely, the polite
yeah,
circle, and then they go on, and then if they cross that boundary again, then they go into the circle of no thank you.
yeah,
And that's basically where you have to protect yourself because you can't allow that behavior to continue
no, and
because
yeah,
it's
and
not
I'm
contributing
quite.
anything.
Yeah, and I'm quite guarded, and I think sometimes I do get quite taken aback, and I really feel, and if I give you all and you've got my 100% support and loyalty and trust and honesty, to me they're right up there, right at the
Yeah,
very top. And if I feel like I'm not getting that, boy am I hurt, because I'm thinking,
sure.
well, I'm really loyal to you. Why can't I,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
why can't I
expect
get
it
that back?
back.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it feels as if it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but yeah, you get over it. You just have to sort of pick your friends wisely, pick your friends really carefully, and
definitely.
yeah, that's what I do. And I just want to be the best friend I can to those around me.
Fantastic. Well, we're drawing to a close now, Jackie. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming on the show
You're
and
welcome.
all your inspirational golden nuggets, I call them, that we can pick from that. So it's been really
Oh,
enlightening and very inspirational. So thank you for that.
my pleasure. And to anyone who's listening and feeling that they have suffered similar or this sort of thing. I think the connectivity is really important. So I'd love to be a support to somebody who feels that they need it. If they're feeling
Fantastic.
lost or if they're feeling like they can't talk to people, I'm here. You just
Yeah,
need to pick up the phone to Tracy and Tracy will link us in. And yeah,
yeah.
you're never on your
We
own.
also we also have a membership site that's starting up as
Yeah,
well on Coffee
good.
Chat, etc. And that's going to be free to new members coming in, where we can meet once a week and support each other. If you can add yourself to that site, Jackie, and if other
Yeah,
members want to join that site as well, I think we can
yeah,
all kind of come together and support each other.
of course. Yeah, that would be lovely.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great having you,
Thank
and we'll see you soon, Jackie.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Thanks.
You too. Thank you for being here and for choosing to be part of this journey today. I believe that together we can create a community where women uplift, support, and empower one another. If this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to my podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you'd like to connect more deeply, visit my new website, Coffee Chat, etc. If you feel that you have something you would like to contribute to future episodes, then let me know. You can join our Facebook group, Inspiration Coffee Chat, etc. And please remember that I aim to create a safe and supportive environment for our listeners. But it is important to reiterate some of these episodes may cover sensitive topics, including discussions around adversity, trauma, mental health, violence, and sexual references. These subjects may evoke strong emotions or trigger responses, and I urge you to seek support and or professional help if you're affected by any of them. I want you to leave feeling inspired, motivated, and empowered. For now, it's a see you later and have a great day wherever you are in the world.